Hi everyone, and welcome to Tom and Harry SMMA. Right, in this video, we are talking about when you get ghosted by, well, future clients or people who you're hoping are gonna be a client of yours. You've had a great meeting with them, you've had a great interaction with them, you've sent something through, silence. They've ghosted. It's like they didn't fucking appear in the first place. So what the hell do you do with it? In the next sort of like 10 minutes, we're going to tell you how you deal with it. Let's get in the video. Harry.
Yes, mate. It's very common. It's a very common problem.
Really common in all businesses, by the way. So that is whether you are a spa or you are, I don't know, an art studio, and you have someone interested in a painting that's $5,000. You know, they come and see the painting, they love it, and they go, yeah, I'm definitely going to buy it. And then you can't get hold of the fucker. It's like, this is really, really common. And it's to do with multiple options that people have. And it's also to do with the busy lives and schedules that we lead and the amount of communication we all have on a daily basis. So you get kind of lost in the ether. Super common. Yeah. So how in the SMMA world, Harry, do we deal with that as a as a practice? Like, what goes on?
So I think there's different reasons why people get ghosted. There's either number one, where you've done a terrible job essentially on the sales call and they literally are ghosting you. Like that's not that, like, don't get us wrong. People do get ghosted, like properly ghosted, where they don't want to talk to you again. They don't want to entertain any more conversations. You did a terrible job. That's your fault. Deal with it. However, a lot of the time there's people that want to go ahead with you, but like you said, they're too busy. And they just need more time to think. They need to speak to other, partners in the business. They might be the director. They need to speak to the owners or other shareholders, or they have kind of, and we also see this quite a lot, where people actually agree with you on the price and say, Tom and Harry, like, I'm going to work with you. Love it. Like, let's get going. And then they go away and you don't hear anything from them. That's a lot of the time them kind of gearing themselves up to getting to work with you. Like we had it on a meeting last week. Someone agreed with us. We didn't hear from them for a week. We got in touch with them, which we're going to go through in a second of how to do it in the best way. We reached out to them back in the correct way, which we're going to talk about in a second. And they were just getting on with their day. They were super busy. They just forgot to get back to us. So there's loads of ways we can do it. But my number one tip of how to stop getting ghosted is at the end of the sales call, book in a follow-up call on that call. So Tom and I will be having a sales call now. He agrees, right, yep, let's go ahead with it. I just need to go talk to my shareholder, but everything should be fine. Instead of just saying, right, okay, we'll leave it at there. Let me know when you're going to get another call. I'll be like, Tom, are you free next Friday to discuss and kind of touch base again? It's already booked in. It's in his calendar. You send over the Zoom link. Your chances of getting ghosted go down dramatically.
Yeah. Agreed. I think there's an element where we can go a little bit further forward, where some people have had discussions where they've reached out to them, whether it's a LinkedIn DM, an email, hopefully a cold call, and they go, yeah, I will love, I'm up for talking with you Tuesday. You send a Zoom through and they don't show up, right? And then, so you haven't even had the sales meeting, and then you're getting an element of silence. And it's like, what do you then do at this point? So obviously, those listening, if you've got the chance to have a presentation to someone or a sales meeting or a discovery call, however you wanted to call it, and it's booked in for a Tuesday, that Tuesday comes around quite quickly, depending on how far before that you spoke to them. If you've got a 5-day, 6-day window, you need to be texting them almost every other day just to make sure they're going to show up. Okay. That avoids the ghosting on the actual call. If you get to 24 hours and you've still not heard whether this person's definitely going to be on the call, I can probably say that 90% of me would say they're not going to show up. So something's happened and they're now not up for the call. Let's say that's all this has happened. They don't show up to the call, but they sounded really interested. Like they were really buzzing for your interest into helping them on social media marketing or email marketing or whatever marketing you've offered. What are you then doing? So there's a couple of aspects. Whichever method of outreach you've been doing with that client, you want to then send a follow-up on that method. So if you've just been communicating on email, then you might as well stick to that for now and just email them. And I'll get into what you email in just a second. If you've been texting these clients, Or let's say you've been emailing them, you will want to potentially reach out to them in a different way. If you've connected with them on Instagram, maybe then it's worth shooting them a DM to say, hey, like, I know you seem keen before, but we'll get on to what we say in just a second. Again, if you've got their phone number, you want to be ringing them. You want to be calling them and saying, hey, what happened?
I think that's an important point on there, mate, of what a lot of people don't do is they'll cold call the business phone number. They'll get past the gatekeeper, or the business phone number will, they'll end up with the decision maker, and rightly so. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
But they'll do the follow up to that business phone number. And what you should do is on the cold call or throughout the sales process on LinkedIn or or for your Instagram DMs or however you're doing it, is getting the personal mobile number of the person you're having the meeting with, because that way you can text them directly, you can call them directly. So 10 minutes before the meeting, they're not showing up or they're not confirmed, you can give their personal cell number a phone call and be like, what's happening, rather than having to ring the business, get put through to them. They might not be in the office that day and it will just be a mess. So on that initial call, yes, you've got to book the meeting, but also a big task of that process is getting their personal email address, their personal phone number, and so you can contact them.
Yeah, you've got to get so what Harry's saying is you've got to get multiple ways of getting to them again, because it might be they've ghosted you in one particular format and they're not probably knowing they're ghosting you. They're just, let's say all you do is email them and they're getting 25, 30 emails a day. You're getting lost in a wider traffic to that source. If they haven't got many people texting them, then you want to do it on the text basis and get through to them that way. So you want to be angling your attack to get back to them through various different ways. If, all that being said, you know which way you're going to do it. You're going to email them, or you're going to text them, or you're going to fire them a DM, or whatever. You're going to ring them or whatever. What do you actually say to them? Now, from what we teach our students in our academy, there are, and completely, this is all from personal experience and Harry's personal experience, and it works. It doesn't work every time, because nothing is guaranteed and nothing works every time, regardless of what any fucker on the internet says. Different people respond to different things. However, what I will share with you for free is the thing that I recognize people respond to more than not. Okay, that would be, let's say you've been ghosted. You cannot get hold of this guy called Craig. Okay, Craig owns a dentist, and you had a great interaction with him. He was like, yeah, I'm interested, give me a call. And then you can't get hold of the guy, or you've given him a sales presentation and you can't get hold of the guy. What you really want to do is kind of make them aware that you're not desperate for their business, but you're keen to work with them. What you don't want to do is go like, hey, did you have a chance to see my presentation? Or did you, are you still interested? ? Or even send them a question mark, which I've had sent to me from people who want to video edit our stuff, right? They know they're now not, your emails aren't suddenly going into junk. They're not suddenly disappearing and they're not getting them. They're reading them and getting them. They're aware that you're trying to make contact with them.
Yeah.
Let it go for a while. Let it go for maybe 10 days. All right. Let it die. Let it just sit. Mm-hmm. Then you want to do the following and send them an email or whatever, DM, and say, Craig, I've been doing some strategic thinking and strategic planning within my agency and we're making some big changes over the next couple of months. I have capacity to work with maybe 2 clients over the next 4 weeks, and that is it. Personally, I would love it to be you and to give you the chance to work with me in that time period. Please, can you respond just either way so I know for my own personal business sake?
Yeah.
That's all you say.
Yeah.
Now, some people will be like, oh, but it's not true. Like, oh, but you haven't got just 2 people. Well, you have now. Who's going to disprove you? And actually, at the minute, you're not getting any clients. So it's not like you've got a choice of taking on who you want. You're just saying, actually, I'm only going to take on 2. Now, at the moment of telling that person that could be correct. Yeah. It doesn't matter. But this is total. If those listening to that can't understand that is a marketing and sales tactic, which is used on TV, and it's used with buy one get one frees and offer ends on Friday and all this shit. Black Friday isn't Black Friday. Black Friday is 5 days long in America. So it's complete nonsense, and they drag it out. So there's an element of scarcity and putting people in a situation where they have to make a decision and take some action. Some people need pushing ever so slightly.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And that's to feed on from that. I think what a lot of people forget is when someone may have agreed to the sales call, like on the cold call or in the DM, or agreed to the proposal that you went through on the actual sales call, if you're getting ghosted after the presentation, is that every hour or every day that you leave it after that pain point's been hit, they're less and less likely to want to touch base with you again.
Correct.
Which is why after, when you have a sales call and you book a meeting, ideally you want to book it tomorrow. If you could book it tomorrow and they're free, you've hit the jackpot. If you wait a month, your chances of them not showing up, your chances of them not being interested go further and further away, because that's more time away from the cold call where you hit their pain points. So the longer and longer it goes, the bigger effort you're going to have to put in to build those pain points back, get into the forefront of their brain why they agreed to that meeting in the first place. So when you say things like Tom said, you know, are you still interested? Have you looked over my proposal? And you shouldn't send a proposal, and you shouldn't send the presentation over without getting on a meeting. That's you know, without being said. But to get them back on the presentation and get them, you know, their pain points hit again, you need to give them a reason to get on the meeting. Remind them why they're getting on the meeting. Don't just say, you know, are you still available for the meeting tomorrow? Or don't say, have you had any thoughts about the presentation? Invite them back on the call to, you know, go through the same presentation with shareholders. Say, oh, I'd love to get back on the presentation because we've added this to it and we want to take you through it. Like, give them a reason, and that reason needs to be your offer. For example, a free strategy session, a free marketing audit, free whatever it is, and use that to get them back on the call and back interested. Just them simple question marks and them phrases Tom said, they're just not good enough. They're just, people are just like, that's not sparking any interest. They've completely forgotten about the pain points.
Now, if I can touch on Harry, a point. So Harry's point you just made there leads me on to point number 2. Now, I've done this recently, and point number 2 is we are in advanced talks with a very high-end kitchen design team, and we've been ghosted. We've been ghosted for a while. Me and my team, we've got a salesperson. He can't get hold of them. There's me that gets involved. We've got another person in the team that's reached out. And eventually you have to kind of call time on it. Otherwise, it's an element of harassment, which we don't do. However, I was just at home and I thought, I'm going to get the team to create some creatives on Instagram of what the ads potentially would look like for them and how high end they can be, because we make them look fucking high end. When most ads on Instagram are absolute dog shit and they're produced by people who don't know what they're doing. So, and you can tell our ads a mile off. So I said, right, I want to produce to my team. Can you produce for me 3 story ads and feed ads for different parts of their business? And I'm going to send them to the owner. So we had them produced. They looked immense. The girl in our team did a fab job. We send them through to him. He reads them, sees them, and goes, Tom, these look fantastic. We're going to be in touch. And now we're in the last stages of going live with them.
Yeah. And that was after, so we had a presentation and we were getting ghosted after we'd given the presentation.
Yeah.
It was actually,
like for a long time. He was really key. And the presentation was a fucking good one. Like, it was met with IOIs. And if you don't know what IOIs are, that indicators of interest. So it's yes. And it's questions to me like what ad spend would I need? Who does the creatives? What do you need from me? What content do you need from me? All these are questions which show they're fucking interested in what you have to offer, right? There was a ton of that, like Harry said.
We even sent the contract over, mate.
We sent a contract. We did full agreement, had a start date on it, everything. And as it was, what we didn't realize is they had a few issues internally. A couple of people left. They had some pressure on some big projects, which really delayed them. What they didn't do was communicate that to us verbally. They just went silent, because it's almost, I think there's an element of not embarrassment, but like awkwardness.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, I also think a big part of it, mate, is like, if you're... people forget that these people are running businesses. Everyone knows, if you run an agency, how hard running a business is. Like, when they're going through that crunch period, or even family issues, replying to Tom and Harry is at the bottom of their list. Like, people forget, like, their kid might have been ill at school and he had to talk to his wife about, you know, who's going to pick them up and take time off work that day. Like, all of that, everyone has normal lives. So it's not always they're purposely ignoring you. No. So you do just have to do things like you did. to get us to the top of the mind.
You're just
And
not
then
that important for them.
yeah, and people hate to believe that. People think I've started an SMA, I've got my logos, I'm the most important person on this planet.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not reply to me? It's like everyone
They
has
owe you
fucking
nothing.
lives. Yeah.
They owe you absolutely nothing. And some people reading this might be like, well, then clearly they didn't think your offer was good enough. They don't want your offer, and it's not like that, because they're not talking to other people. It's not like they're shopping around.
No.
Everything in this game is timing. We know that. You have to be in the right place and the right time, and you'll get the deal, because the need to act is so strong.
Yeah.
Don't be ever offended by people ghosting you. We live in a world where just getting someone's attention for 5 minutes on the phone is such a struggle. So it is what it is. But there's some key, just to recap before we end this video. First of all, do what I said in the video. If you haven't listened properly, please go back. It was about 6 minutes in, so I'm not going to repeat it again, but go and watch it. And I've said kind of what you need to say on an email or a DM. So go and watch it and write down what I have said and use it. The second point of that is the point I've just covered about creatives. So that's kind of it. That, honestly, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to get like a reply from people. You're absolutely not. We don't guarantee shit, but like, you will have a better chance of getting and sparking a response from that potential client or that current client.
Yeah. They absolutely will. Well, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you a bit of food for thought in terms of why you're getting ghosted, how to stop getting ghosted, and just like the fact that Tom and I experience it, and we're experienced agency owners. You're not like doing things wrong. You might be doing so. If you're doing the sales call completely wrong and you literally are getting properly ghosted, then you need to sort out your presentation, because you'll be doing some fundamental things wrong. But if it's just like, not turning up to the call and you're not following up in the correct way, or you've not built enough urgency on that initial cold call, like, they're all things you can change, that you just need to be, self-aware enough to realize you are doing things wrong and change them. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you've not watched our previous video, it was on Tom and I's daily routines as multi-six-figure agency owners. Super interesting video. We go through it in quite a lot of detail. And yeah, please make sure you subscribe, follow us on Apple Music and Spotify. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m.